Hello people, and welcome back to the second episode of the city's Skylines build guide. Last episode we set up the beginnings of Bogusia with a nice little industrial estate, a little bit of a commercial frontage along the high street here, and we started to map out some of our residential planning. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to carry on powering towards our next milestone, which is going to give us the illustrious title of Tiny Town, and that's going to unlock some really cool things that we're going to be covering today, including mainly the parks and plazas. But we're also going to be talking about some districts which we also unlocked last episode. So I'm just going to carry on zoning up this residential that we left off last here, and again I'm just going to keep it to kind of sensible sized houses here. I don't really want any of the small ones coming in to kind of break the feel of this thing. So I'm just going to selectively zone. Now you can just kind of fill in if you want, so it fills in all these little kind of 1 square blocks. But in my opinion, it really kind of breaks how your city looks and doesn't feel as immersive, I feel, in my own opinion. You guys might want to do it. I think 2 deep and long is about the kind of preference for me. So we're just going to carry on filling in some of these larger spots around here, and this should power us towards that next population milestone. We can get all this one in. Might actually leave a little bit clear there so we have some room to expand the road, and probably here as well. And just to remind myself again that I am going to expand that way, I'm just going to go ahead and pop a road in there and in there again. So that's just a little reminder to let myself know, you know, don't zone these squares. That's where we're going to be building. So we'll see where else we can get some nice little blocks here. Maybe a 3 deep one there might be quite nice. Get some along here as well, maybe one there, and then probably along here as well. Now I'm not sure what it is I want to do with this space right here yet. We may put some houses along there, I haven't entirely decided, only because it's along the back of the highway. And if we do look at noise pollution, some of the roads that we unlock later down the line, there isn't any there right now, but some of these roads will produce noise, so it's important to keep in mind how close you're placing your housing to it. We're just a few moments away now. Let's wait for it to pop in. There we go. Okay, so Tiny Town means a population of 950, and that's going to unlock park areas and industry areas, which are from the Industries DLC that expand the industry part of the game a lot more. We also have landscaping, which is really cool because we can now detail areas with trees and bushes and whatnot. And then we also have parks, plazas, industry areas, level 2 unique buildings, football, and then some new policies for the districts, and then a ton of new paths and items that come with the services that we have just unlocked. So last episode I talked about how I wanted to turn this place here into a park area. The reason I'm doing that is because we have a school here. There's a lot of commercial along this kind of empty park right now. So there's a lot of reasons for people to visit this area, and there's also a lot of kind of level 1 buildings. Now what placing a park is going to do is level them all up and give people more reasons to come to this area. So we're going to come to this little icon down here, which is our districts and areas. I'm going to click on it, and then we're going to go ahead to this third option along, and that's going to be paint a park area. I'm just going to switch this down to my smallest one. I'm just going to paint out a little zone along this little bare stretch of land that I've left. I'm going to there, and that's going to generate a random name. Suggestions down in the comments for naming this park, and for followers of Fremwood, the old Let's Play, you guys know I like to let my subscribers name the parks and districts and that appear throughout our cities. So get your suggestions down in the comments for the name of this new park. So once we have the park area, that's going to allow us to place a park building. Now with the city park stuff, which is what we're going to be looking at today before we cover the amusement, zoo and natural reserve in another episode when we come to actually building them. We have 2 kind of main gates. So this main one is a little bit grandiose for such a little small town vibe like this. So I'm going to go for the smaller one. So you can see this one has like a car park in front of it. It's got a big wide gate, but this one's just kind of low key and it's quite cute. So I think I'm going to have an entry here. And that's going to say that, you know, we have this park here. It's unlocked a couple of different buildings inside it. And then we also have a side gate. So I'm going to probably place that, say probably over here. would be a good shout. Actually, let's place that along this road. So it's right opposite, and then maybe one straight opposite the school as well. So straight away we have something that looks like that. Right now it's pretty basic, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and draw in some fences. Now again, for followers of Friendwood know that I do love a good fence, and these things really help to kind of detail and separate areas out from one another. So what would usually be kind of just kind of blended into one, the fence really helps separate it from the rest of your city. So that's why we're going to add in our fences, and it's also a nice little aesthetic touch as well. Go ahead and turn my volume down here a little bit, it's a little bit loud. So that's what we're looking at right now. It's pretty simple. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is go into our park life stuff and then grab some of these. So right at the end of this kind of park life tab, we have a couple of different options. So there's a hedge one, which kind of looks a little bit boring, but then there's another one, which is hedge 2, which is kind of a bit more colourful. So I'm going to go ahead and place some of those. So these are only costing us $10 per hedge, which isn't particularly expensive. I'm just going to border some of these right along the edge of the fence with a little gap in between. And there is a reason I'm leaving that gap, which we'll discuss in a moment. So now I've got a little design like that. I'm going to go ahead and jump into our landscaping tools and grab a couple of trees. We are also playing with the Better Landscaping Tools mod on now, so that's going to allow us to do some pretty cool things. So this is only a pretty small park. Now this tree is a little bit big for my liking, so I think we're going to go down even a step further. Maybe get some of these in. Maybe we can go for a nice colourful tree along this border. I'm just going to place them in between each. Now this has no effect on your city. The props do not count towards anything. It doesn't make your city more valuable. It doesn't increase land value. Trees, to an extent, have a sound blocking value. So they can be used to kind of negate the sound effect that comes from highways and high dense commercial areas. Okay, so that's not looking too bad right now, I don't think. But let's actually focus up on the park stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my paths. Now I think the part with decorations will be a little bit too much for what I'm trying to go for here. So I'm going to pop my snapping back on and try my best to kind of match these up. So that's a really simple pattern, and now we've got some place to actually place in some stuff. So a park plaza is a little too big for what we're going for, but we can get in some of these other buildings. So a park cafe would be quite nice, I think. Let's place this right along the main strip here. I think that'll be okay. I'm going to kind of create a centralized focus on this crossroads. So we're going to add in a park restrooms right here. Then we also have a park info booth. Let's see where we can get this in without having to break the fence. We can always rebuild the fence. There should be enough room. There we go, we can get that in just there. So right now we have a little community focus thing, and what I'm going to do now is the rest of the park that we have bare, I'm just going to throw in kind of a couple of trees in different patterns. I think we'll probably go for, I think we'll keep them relatively small. Let's go for this one maybe. So I'm just going to draw a little bit of a kind of a shape like that. That should let's throw in another tree there. And then back into the park life stuff, and let's grab some of those props again. So you do kind of have some floor tiles here. I'm just going to place a few of these in and around this new little tree zone that we've just built. And let's have maybe a couple of picnic tables, and that'll look quite nice. They can have a rubbish bin as well. And then let's go for maybe like a little food stall right in the corner there. Now there are also flower beds, which look really nice. Oh no, that's not the angle I wanted to place them at. Let's go for there and there, and spin them around. You can spin props around with a single left click of the mouse, right click of the mouse, sorry. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's finish off that little flower bed border. Let's have it in here. If I can just drop it in there. Okay, so already compared to just leaving these areas empty, this can already look just so much more interesting and nice. So that's going to do there. And then for the next bit, I think I'm just going to go ahead and probably place in a little bit of a meadow around here. Let's have a bit of a tree line that hugs the fence and kind of brings people into the park. And then maybe we can make a bit of a rock feature out of this. That's just going to delete the tree we placed, but we can easily pop that back in. So just kind of play with different shapes and different props and see what you can come up with in your parks, and you already see just how much more interesting this area looks. Let's go ahead and have a bit of an overgrown bit. Let's go ahead and grab some vegetation. There we have these kind of around the edge here. These are just a few different ideas. You can just keep the park the same theme if you like. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a couple of rocks in here as well. And then maybe some of these other trees. So it's like, you know, nobody walks in this particular bit of land. It's just a bit of overgrown space that nature has reclaimed, if you like. I suppose you could run it like that. And then I'm going to save this little space here for when we unlock some of the other buildings. Because we do have some other buildings that are still locked that I grayed out, which will unlock as the park levels up. So when we click on Hamilton Garden now, it's going to give us some insight, and it's going to show us how much the park costs to maintain, which at the minute is 176, which is relatively cheap. It has lots of entertainment value, which is going to help it level up. You can see you have a value here, which is the one you need to hit, and this value currently indicates the one that it is at. And then it also has to have a certain amount of visitors, which is 500, and at the minute the park's had 1. So it's a while to go yet before it levels up, and then we can also apply some policies to it. And these are going to be different kind of things that draw more visitors, but also make the park more expensive to maintain. But because this is a fairly low-key little small town park, I'm probably not going to put any policies on it right now. They can also be quite expensive, so it's probably not something you want to be doing all the time. But that's just going to level up in the distance right now, and then also parks are going to increase the land value, so we're going to see relatively soon a lot of these buildings around here level up, which is great. So while we're on the subject of mapping out districts and areas, let's talk about the kind of general area where we can paint a district in. So districts kind of help segment different parts of your city. So for example, right now we can see we have a bit of a commercial front on this road, which is great. And then these other areas are just kind of surrounding residential. And then we have obviously our industry area down here. So let's map out our industry area first of all. I'm just going to follow the road as best that I can. Let's bring this up. And then just up to there. You can just help to map out the roads by keeping them on the point. When you do click and drag these, they will snap to the node points on the road. And then I know I'm going to extend this down under the bridge, so I'll just map it out a little bit there as well. And then probably up until about there. Should be okay. So it's going to auto name this district as well. So suggestions down in the comments if you'd like to name this area. And then clicking on it is going to give us a little bit of information. And then if we click policies, we have a whole bunch of different policies that we can tether to this industry that we just area. Sorry, that we just painted out. So we'll go over each one as we kind of implement them, but for right now we're not really going to put any into our industry area because it doesn't particularly need them. So let's go ahead now and map out the rest of our other areas. So I think from here to encompass this bit of residential all the way down here, and then along the back way here I think is going to be another area. Another district. And paint that up to there. I can probably push it out here as well to encompass those few houses that are in it. And then again, we'll just bring them down over here. Okay, so this is Hillside Square. Yeah, if we have a look at this, we can give them power usage, which is going to reduce the electricity consumption, likewise for water. Smoke detector distribution is going to be kind of, reduces the risk of fire ever so slightly. Pet bans, smoking bans, so there's all different kind of things, and again, we'll cover them as we apply each one. But there's one here that I'm particularly interested in, and this moderately increases land value around parks and plazas. However, it does also increase our parks and plazas budget by 20%. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and paint in over here. So I'm just going to add in another district that encompasses the park and this main street. So I'm just going to paint that in around there, and that's going to give us Woodland Square. So I'm going to click on Woodland Square. I'm going to say, yeah, I do want the land value around parks and plazas to be increased. Let's click on that, and that's going to apply it to my budget. And now we'll see, as time passes by, that the land value around these places is going to start leveling up. You see, just had one level up there. And as we leave it running over time, we should start to see some other buildings being upgraded. Yeah, here we go. There's one popping down here now. There's one over here and here. You can just see now lots of different buildings starting to upgrade. There's one over here. Again, that's just because we've applied that policy. So these people are now going to start paying us more tax, which is great for us. And also the buildings are going to look a lot nicer. See, this guy's got a nice brand new house. He's got a little patio. So everyone's happy and it's all going to look good. So that's basically our first city park. Feel free to name it in the comments, of course, and we'll save these spaces for when we unlock a couple more buildings. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and reposition this a little bit further down this path. But yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. Let's have a look what else we have going on in the city right now. I'm just going to go ahead and delete these rocks. So I want to kind of plan out what I'm going to be doing with this area. Now, I did want to actually keep in a bypass road that's going to run along the beach here and feed people into an area of town over here and into the beach. It's mainly for the garbage trucks to shorten their journey onto the other side of the island, but it'll also be useful for workers as well, for anyone that gets a job in this industrial area. Now we do have a bit more as a industrial demand, so I'm going to go ahead and fulfill that right now. Let's have one here. And here, and there's a bit more space over here too. That should satisfy a little bit of demand for right now. Yeah, okay. So, let's grab our road. Now, before I expand into this area here, I want to make sure that I have this road mapped out, because I don't want it to become an issue later on when I have to rebuild things. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off our snapping tool, and then just bring this road down like this. And this is just going to auto terraform the land as it goes. Now that's a little bit of a steep curve, a little more steeper than I wanted. So what we can do here is actually bring it up to about there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go underground. I'm going to bring this out to where that hill starts to drop again. And then bring it out. And we'll terraform that in a little minute so it looks a little more realistic. And then I'm just going to bring this out to about there. And then I know now that that's the road that needs to be upgraded into a high-speed highway. And then that can look quite nice later on. So looking at our landscaping tools, let's go ahead and grab the kind of the cliff feature here. I'm just going to make a little more kind of fuss out of where the bridge goes under. Just kind of push this out. And there we go. We also have sand now. Well, that is quite cool. It's been a while since I've played with these extra landscaping tools, but I'm really looking forward to doing it. So right now you can just see where we've cut through the cliff, and that'll serve a different bit of town later on in the series. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to turn my snapping back on and start planning out what I want to do. So there's going to be more residentials here, and there's going to be a little bit more of a high school as well. So I'm thinking, I kind of want to bring this out on a curve. And that syncs up nicely with that point. So let's go ahead and hook that up. And then I'm also going to hook this guy up with a straight road through there. Oh yes, of course, and we have now reached the point where our power has run out, but if you remember rightly, we did actually decrease the budget, so before we buy a new power plant, we can go ahead and just make the budget normal again, and that is going to supply the city back with electricity. There we go, when the budget takes effect. How are we doing for water? Water's still fine, no problem there at all. Okay, so I want another residential area to be kind of the focus of this point here. So we're going to bring this guy up. Obviously about there. And then this guy's going to come out and just come into a dead end. And then we'll probably have this one coming down here, off into a bit of an angle, and then like a little cul-de-sac there. So let's kind of play with some of the shapes that you can make with the different road networks. Let's kind of make some different shapes rather than constant grids. Okay, so this new area is going to need water, so I'm going to go ahead and map these guys out onto the water grid. This up there, and there. And again, please do not follow my water pipe layout. It is inefficient, but it looks great in the end. Okay, let's map out some stuff here. Let's get some of that residential demand satisfied and get some more taxpayers into the city. I'm not going to border this thing here. I think I'm going to save this as a bit of parkland. I think we'll go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and grab some of our giant redwoods. I'm just going to go ahead and play. Okay, yeah, it's a little too many than what I wanted. I think brush strength is the tool that I need to play with here. Yeah, that's what we want to do. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a feature along here. Then I'm also going to paint in a path, really just for aesthetic purposes, probably up to here, and then this guy can come in and actually link down to that street there as well. And if I remember, yes we did, we also saved a space here for our paths, in there, and then we do actually have a perfect position for a little L-shaped path that can find its way through this place here, and then we can also place something in here as well, just so people have easier access into the towns. And then we also had room for one here as well. So what paths are going to do is they're going to increase the walkability of your city, and what that means is how easy it is for people to get around without having to use a car. Which is going to mean less traffic on your roads, which means less congestion, which is fun for everyone. Okay. So right now we can see, if we just kind of observe where our citizens are walking, you can see that they're crossing this road right now. And this is a real main busy road. I don't want lots of zebra crossings on here. So what I am going to do is build them their own personalised walkway. So let's go ahead and grab our path here. This is just a regular old pavement path. And I'm going to drop my elevation step down into the middle one. So there's three options, kind of tallest, middle and smallest. Let's go ahead and grab our tallest. And I'm just going to go ahead and see, let's make sure these guys are linking power through. Yeah, they're okay. Okay, let's have a little look here. Where would be the best point to bring this out from? So I think probably here would be a good spot. I am actually going to turn snapping on for this. Or maybe this side actually, yeah, this would probably be the most appropriate. So with a little bit of fiddling around, you can get this little marker to fit perfectly within the squares. So there we go. Easiest way to do that is turn off road guideline snapping. That makes that process a lot easier. Right, okay, so we're going to come out and then we're going to hit page up. Now at the minute that looks a little bit ridiculous, so I think I'm going to head down. Oh, that's because we're on our middle elevation step, that'd be why. So I'm going to come out to 62, seems like a good height. And then I'm going to bring it up there. Not by 44. Then I'm going to turn around and bring it up to the road and go up by a small elevation step. And that's going to allow me to cross the road perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure that this comes down perfectly symmetrical. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of look what we've done. So from this point to this point is 64 when it crosses the road. So I know that's the same distance. And then when we dropped the elevation step, we came down by 64. So I can do that again. I'm going to come down by 64 there. And then this place to there was 44, which is going to be easy enough for us to do. There we go. And then up to there is 62 again. Cool. So now we have a perfectly symmetrical bridge that is going to allow our Sims to walk to work rather than drive. So, and they're also going to stop crossing the roads, which is very useful for us. And I think I'm going to also bring in a path here. I don't want to bring the bridge down here because it will ruin the symmetry. And let's go ahead and decorate this. And we can have a couple of these big redwood looking trees, not too close to the power plant because this place is producing pollution, and it will kill your trees if it's too close. I'm also going to go ahead and delete those two. Maybe we can have a little bit of a focal point with a rock. That seems like a relatively good idea. And we can kind of turn this into a bit of a natural feature. Let's go ahead and grab some bushes. Kind of place them around the base of this rock here. And let's also decorate the park entrances. So I'm going to place in a large bush on either side, and then over here as well. So now we'll see Sims start to take the bridge instead of the road, which is exactly what the job was intended for. And that's going to allow the road just to remain a little bit freer. And it also looks pretty nice as well, you know, if you're heading into the city and you have this new kind of bridge coming over the top of it. I think it looks pretty nice. Okay. This place has developed a little bit now. Again, these are really poor kind of shack houses. Not very nice to look at right now, but they will level up. I do want another little bit of high street, I think, so I'm going to place that. Now this is a nice little shape that we've got going on in the middle of this road network here, so I'm going to do something with that. Let's go ahead and place in a bit of commercial here, and I'm going to leave a strip free right in the middle. Has he used those back two squares? I can't tell. Yes, he has. Okay. And then the same again here, big long strip of commercial, and then again here, and I'm just going to leave a strip right by the crossroads. And then I wonder if there's any kind of parks or plazas we can place in and around here. Maybe a plaza with trees won't fit. Maybe we can place one of the smaller parks along here somewhere. Actually, I'm pretty sure the large playground. So some of these assets that come with the vanilla game will already have kind of assets built into them to the point where you can just expand them. I'm trying to see, there isn't one that will fit along here. This is where prop anarchy comes in useful. If you are playing with it, then you won't have this problem. Maybe we can have one. Yeah, let's go for a dog park right on the corner of town here. I think that looks pretty nice. So now we have this commercial zoned out. What I'm going to go ahead and do is draw in some dirt paths with my path tool. I'm going to turn all snapping off and go to the freeform tool. So let's bring this right up in between, probably out to the middle, and I'm just going to snake this back down to this road, and then this guy's going to come and bend pretty much into there, and down here as well, and then we'll also have another path that snakes off from here right up to the crossroads. So straight away we're going to be having a lot of little people walking through this area. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe we can actually stick with the redwood theme we've got going on this part of time right now. And I have a couple dotted around the inside like this. And it's just going to make, again, this will have no value on your park. It won't increase land value, but it does just help break up the monotonous zoning that you end up doing, I find, in City Skylines sometimes. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some low vegetation and then just drop it around the back of the buildings and the base of the trees. Obviously, you don't get people walking down here, so it's going to be a little overgrown. I'll just take that out. There we go. Already looks a lot better, I think. And then this thing will increase the value. The dog park is fine, but these bits that we've placed in manually won't affect anything at all. But it just kind of gives a nice feel to what would be otherwise a boring block of commercial. We do have a little more commercial, so I think right here is a nice spot. We can almost make a bit of a, a nice street corner out of this, I think. And I think this place will probably become solid residential as well. You don't want to go too over the top with your parks and paths. He says about to draw in some more paths. Let's make a nice little cut through here. That's going to allow people to cut straight through from here, which is good news for everyone involved. Okay. Not too bad. Let's expand this residential. Stay a touch. I'm going to bring it up to there, but I'm not going to let the roads join. I'm actually going to connect them with a simple dirt path. Not one that looks like that though. Let's go ahead and draw it in from here. Actually, let's do it from here to here, and then right in the middle. And this guy can meet up like that. Then let's go ahead now and paint in the rest of those houses. We'll delete that one there. We'll have one here, and probably along here as well. Seems a nice big stretch. And again, remember, don't be expanding your residential too fast. It will mess you up. Okay, so right now we have an icon appearing and a couple of abandoned buildings. Now this is totally normal at the start of your city. So what this means is that they don't have enough educated workers. So that says, okay, let's have a look at our education. So clicking in the info tab, we can go ahead and have a look at education. So we have plenty of elementary school availability. There's 250 places in the schools and only 185 students that are actually eligible. But the problem is our high school availability. We have 411 students that can go to high school, but we have, alas, no high school. So now it's time to have a look at high schools. So let's go ahead. Now there is two types of high school. Let me see if I can take out a loan. So I can pay this back and then take it out again, which will be exactly what I need. I'm going to go ahead and have a look at this high school right here. So this is the Institute of Creative Arts. You can kind of get a bit of a glance for it in the thumbnail. So this is going to provide education for those that need high school education. Now I'm wondering where the best place for this would be. It's a shame we can't place it there. That would have been rather nice. But perhaps here wouldn't be a bad option, in and amongst all the commercial. Not entirely sure. Maybe here would be a good option. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little more fuss of my high school area. So let's go ahead and find a nice place for it. I think here would be okay. I'm going to terraform this land a little bit. I'm actually going to push this cliffside out right up to the edge of that highway road. Again, just about up to there. And then let's go ahead and soften the terrain. Let's just bring all this out so the area around here isn't too insane with its incline. That seems a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a 2-lane road, and I'm going to place this thing right opposite here. So I'm going to put my snapping back on. I'm going to bring it out as short as I can, so 160. And then bring it out to probably about there. So I'm just going to separate the high school away from the main road. And that's just going to help it, again, just stand out that little bit more away from everything else. Let's go ahead. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's place in some paths to kind of link it up to the other external streets that are hanging around it. Maybe we can have one straight here. And then we can make a little bit of a feature that goes along here. So we'll leave 1 block free there. And then 1 right in the middle. And then what we can do again is place a big tree in and amongst all these. So you can kind of see recurring themes that are starting to recur throughout this little small town that we've started building right now. I'm just going to give the town a lot more personality. Now, if you are playing modded, the things you can do to make kind of each area feel really distinctive is pretty crazy. So I'm just going to do a nice few overgrown bushes around here now and kind of bring that into effect. Just kind of moving it in and around the rocks and spamming them, even though I actually don't need to because I'm playing with better landscaping tools. Let's go for the brush strength a little higher. There we go. That'll still take a while for me to get used to these new mods. So let's play it. So right now you can tell, when you're looking at the sky from above, it isn't just more buildings, it's kind of separated. And when we do unlock some of the nicer roads, we can also upgrade this as well. Now we'll slowly see these icons will start to disappear as the high school begins to take effect. So guys, that is going to do it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying this city so far, and hopefully you guys are as well. So today we've covered the parks, plazas and paths kind of episode, and also introduced a high school into our city as well. And hopefully you guys can kind of see the uses of districts, and as we continue to add policies to different areas of the map, we'll also kind of get an idea of what they can and can't do for your city. But that's it guys, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video or found it at all useful, a like below really helps me out, and if you do like this kind of content, consider subscribing because we do a lot of city skylines on this channel over here. And equally as much, if you didn't find this useful or you are a subscriber and you don't like this content, then please feel free to leave a dislike as well. It helps me gauge what you guys do and do not enjoy. Otherwise guys, that is it. And we'll finish off with a nice little... I'll leave this running so you guys can get a bit of a cinematic shot, but otherwise guys, that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and please enjoy the rest of your day.